This is the Truth Radio Network. The Truth Radio Network, your home for compelling Christian news talk with an edge. Oh, it's Thursday. Another week has passed. It's time for a swift kick in the afternoon. Joe, are you there, buddy?
Yes, I am, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. You got Joseph and Jay, a.k.a. two grumpy older men, on the air today. Before we went to air, Joe, you were talking about snow over there in your direction. Man, we don't have any here. We got a couple flurries and nothing to be expected anytime soon. But you guys got it out there, huh?
Yeah, we got about, here we got 7 inches plus at my house. I'm on the top of the hill, but, I mean, we didn't have any wind drifts or anything like that, so it just kept coming down, tapered off, and just stopped about maybe an hour ago, and, hey, it's wide out there.
Well, at least you didn't get what's expected for this big snowstorm coming towards hitting the East Coast and the central Atlantic area. Well, they're talking about 2 feet of snow or more in some areas, brother. And I saw an article earlier where the grocery stores are already being overrun with non-preppers. You folks didn't think it could happen in your area, so you only had 2 days worth of food in your cabinets and in your refrigerator. And now look what happens. The threat of 2 feet of snow or more, and stores are overrun. Joe, that's one place I'm glad I wouldn't have to be, in a situation, an emergency situation. It's somewhere I don't have to be is the store. I can take care of other things.
Yeah, well, that's one of the ideas around, being prepared, is you don't want to be where everybody else is, because then you're just you're another sheeple. But if you get it now and set it aside, hey, it's there when you need it, and that's part of what prepping is planning for the future, and just act accordingly. Get that, get your food, non-perishables. Make sure you got milk if you got little kids. The usuals, and batteries for your flashlights. We don't need you burning your house down in the middle of winter time. It doesn't work out well for family. Think ahead. That's all we can ask, and all we can, suggest. I don't play a doctor, and I certainly don't get paid like one, so.
Well, I have played doctor in the past, but I got kicked out of my kindergarten class for a day for doing that.
Oh, a story for another day.
Yeah, it was kindergarten, okay?
Yeah. The good old days. Now, if a child did that today, they would be, suspended from school.
Placed on the sex offender registry list.
Sex offender list and everything else. It's just, it's crazy. I think I was blessed growing up at the time when I did, because of all the things that, I was able to do and learn that, are shunned upon almost by today's society. Before school or before class in high school, we'd go out hunting in the morning and park the truck in the school parking lot with shotguns in the back window. It was no big. It wasn't this paranoid, politically correct BS that we have today.
Right. I was just going to say, Joe, you do that today, man. That school will be locked down. The other schools in the area will be on lockdown. The whole, probably that block in a 4-block radius would be locked down if someone were to have a shotgun in a school parking lot now.
Oh yeah, and like I said, it's gotten crazy to the point where all these politically correct BS is just gone overboard. It's the only way that I can put it. Family show.
Well, I was just saying before I unmuted myself. I was just saying that family show or not, that hasn't stopped you before. No, I'm just kidding.
It hasn't. Check the archives, folks. You'll find it.
Right. It's there.
Right. No.
Also, you know what? I was just thinking, because Rusty's on the line. Speaking of archives, it's not in this. It's not on this network here. It was one of my Freedomizer shows. Unfortunately, I don't think it's there anymore. But I had Rusty on the line one day, and he says, hey, hang on, I'm gonna order this burrito. He goes, I'm gonna mute myself. Well, he didn't mute himself, and I didn't mute him. I didn't turn his mic off. So we got to enjoy the experience of Rusty ordering a burrito and you know him actually letting a 4-letter word fly on air, which is pretty funny. It was good stuff.
Yeah. Well, classic radio, and it'll be a crime later on, you know. But we can say we got away with it when it was good. Yeah, no. With winter storms and storm season, you know, you gotta think a little bit ahead. Hopefully, you've got your you know, fresh antifreeze in your vehicle. You've primed your windshield wiper fluid so that it's full. Get the non-freezing stuff. It works great. Fresh windshield wipers every year. I get them from my truck whether I need them or not, and invest in the good stuff, and they last. Still, well, I get them from my truck. That doesn't mean I throw them on until I need them. But I've got a pair that the pair I got on there now have lasted me. This is the second year they're on there, but I got a fresh set sitting right inside the truck. So if they go bad or they start streaking, then I'll just pull over and flip them out. Take me maybe 30 seconds, you know, if that. But it's just having them, and that's something else I don't have to worry about. Have extra stuff in your vehicle. If you break down, you know, small emergency kit, a flashlight, candles. Your vehicle's nice and small. Hope you got all your glass, your windows. So crack your window a little bit, light up a little candle. Boom. You've got heat. Space blanket's also a good idea, people. Cat litter. Cat litter will get you unstuck if you're just slightly stuck and not majorly like snowdrift stuck. Works pretty good. Throw it out, and hey, you got a little bit of traction there, a little more than you had before. Right. Besides that, if you don't use it, you just turn around and you give it to somebody who's got a cat. I mean, that's another thing that I've learned as I've been going along and through this prepping experience is that I give a lot of stuff away, and people just look at me like, you're just giving me just things. This is brand new. I said, yeah, that's okay. I got another one. Enjoy, put it to good use, and go on to the next one. But yeah.
Hey, you know what, brother? We have a call.
Coolness.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and take this call.
Yes. Hello. In that case, my name is Rusty Shackelford.
What'd you say your name was? Are you there, buddy?
Hey, I'm there. Can
we got you.
Okay?
Not too good.
No, hang on a minute. Let me try a little adjustment here. Is that better?
Yep, that's much better.
Okay, there you go. I'm trying to call from. Hey, it's going dandy, Jay. How's everything going for you? How's it going for you? Okay, let me put myself on mute and drive up the road where I get a better connection.
Okay, that sounds good. It's just your volume was really low.
Yeah.
So just chime in whenever you're ready there, Rusty. We'll continue talking about Snowmageddon. It's coming your way, folks. 20 plus inches of snow. What can you do to prepare? What can you do to prepare? Well, if you don't have at least a minimum amount of stuff on hand, then you're already behind the eight ball. Because as I said at the beginning of the show, stores are already being overrun. You don't want to be one of these people that we see on the news every single time a hurricane comes or a major snowstorm comes or a weather event comes or something else. You don't want to be one of these people fighting over the last loaf of bread on the store shelves. You don't want to be fighting over the last case of water on the store shelves. You already want to have your stuff at home, taking care of your family, making sure things are set at your home. Because not only with 2+ feet of snow in some areas on the way, that's kind of the least of the problems that you have to worry about. Shoveling snow, getting rid of the snow, icing up, freezing pipes, things like that. Mm-hmm. You've got to be prepared for just about every instance. And I think I heard Rusty honking his horn. Did you, Rusty?
I think I'm back, Brandon. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, we could hear you fine. It wasn't breaking up or anything. It was just your volume was really low.
Huh. I don't know. Do you want me to try to call back in, or?
I don't know. Maybe hold the phone closer to your face.
Well, hold it any closer, I'm going to be licking the screen.
Well, hey, what goes on between you and your phone is your business.
That's a fact. Don't ask, don't tell.
Don't ask, don't tell. Phone sex, huh? Oh, that was bad. I'm sorry. That was terrible.
If you can hear me okay, I won't hang up and call again. If you can't hear me, I will hang up and try again.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, one of the things that I would recommend carrying in your vehicle is a shovel, a scoop shovel.
Exactly.
I live in snow country, so we get snow probably 9 months, maybe even 10 months out of the year. If you go in the high country, you can get snow 12 months out of the year here. So, we're kind of used to it here.
No, excellent point. I've got one in my truck. I've had to dig out. It's not fun, but sometimes it's necessary. Cruising down the road, it hasn't been, cleared by a county crews or whoever, and hit an icy spot, and boom, you slide off what you're over in the ditch. Been there, done that. Got myself out. Hey, feels good.
Yeah,
nice
yeah.
workout.
And I actually last week I had the opportunity of pulling a Floridian, a very nice Floridian, out of the ditch. And the problem with that individual here, we got real high. They build stuff real high because we got a lot of mountainous and hilly areas. And when this lady went off the road, she went down we call them a borrow ditch. I don't know what you call them there, but down into the borrow ditch. Her car was late. She was camouflaged up against the snow. She said she'd been there for 30 minutes and nobody had stopped to help her. And there was nothing I could do. I was of no help. I couldn't have got her out of that ditch. I didn't have I'd have had to have 100 yards of rope to get her out. But one of the things that I do recommend that probably would have saved this lady a lot of time is if she had some orange ribbon of some sort, and you can get orange duct tape and, put some of that orange duct tape up. Even if you walk up to the road, put it around a marker or something, at least people would slow down and kind of get an idea that, that there's something there, something to mark yourself. And, it's uncommon, but we have had snowstorms here where we get 5 feet of snow, 6 feet of snow plus wind, and you can be driving down the road and you just got to stop. By the time, things clear up, your vehicle's under a snowdrift. So, it does happen. I know it's more common out in New York and Michigan where you're around the Great Lakes there, but we do get them out here on the Great Plains too. And our problem is the snow and the cold temperatures. The wind and the cold temperatures. I know you guys get cold up there, but because of the elevation here, I think that, 40 below is not unheard of. 50 below is not unheard of. And then you get even a little breeze with 50 below zero weather, you get kind of uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah. I can attest to that. I worked Kemmerer, Wyoming one winter, and I don't care how many pairs of Dickies you're wearing, that 50-mile prevailing wind, when you're 200 feet off the ground, it cuts right through, and you wish you had everything taped up at that time.
Right.
Your exposed skin, you're talking about frostbite in 30 seconds, easily.
Yeah.
And it's not fun, but it's things you have to you think ahead, and that's just what we're trying to get you to do here, like gently nudge, there's an immense amount of things that we'd all like to have, to carry around with us. Everybody's got a cell phone today, so they don't really, think, I'll just, I'll call it 911, or AAA. They'll send somebody out. No, if you're out there and you're stuck, you got to think about it. There are 100 other people that are thinking the same thing you do. I'll just call AAA. Those people get swamped in the bad weather.
Yeah. Well, and there's, what if they can't get to you? And I don't know, again, where folks live. I know Kansas, they don't get the excessive amount of snow, but, one of the worst driving experiences I ever had was heading south through Kansas, and there was 6 inches of ice on the roads. And, it had rained. It was super cooled water, and people don't realize that water can stay liquid as long as there's nothing for it to freeze onto, down to about 27 degrees. And at 27 degrees, when that stuff's falling, then whatever it hits, then it's freezing on. And it's whether it's the highway, power lines go down. You'll see power lines that'll be as big around as a tennis ball on the outside of the power line, and it was nasty. That was the worst driving experience I've ever had in my life. And folks say, well, the colder it gets, the slicker it gets. That's absolutely untrue. Actually, the colder it gets, the less slick it is. When it gets at about 30 degrees and you got ice on the road and it's starting to kind of melt a little bit, that's when it sucks. It really sucks.
Yeah.
And a four-wheel drive doesn't mean you can stop any quicker, and it doesn't give you any better traction, or it doesn't give you any better stability when you're steering. What it does is it helps you go a little bit better. So I'm just saying, I own a four-wheel drive. I don't even take it out anymore. I drive two-wheel drive everywhere.
I wish I could. I wish I had a camera so I could send you guys this picture. Jay, you remember the Underwear Hunter?
Yes, I do. The Underwear Hunter. Yes. And now what do you think, Rusty?
I had a mentally taxed out neighbor that would step out into his backyard and hunt rabbits in his underwear. And he got the name the Underwear Hunter. His son is out de-snowing his yard. He's got about 80% of it done right now, and I'm just wondering, what is this guy's problem? He may be suffering from the same mental disadvantages his father had.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
What I recommend doing is going down, and I know Big Lots has them. They're like a milk crate, about the size of a milk crate. Big Lots had them for $3 last week. I bought 2 of them, one for each of my vehicles. You get that milk crate, put the things that you're going to need. Now, if you live in a cold climate, I do not recommend putting bottles of water or bottles of Coke or anything that can freeze and blow up. If you do put a bottle of water in there, open it up, dump half of it out, squeeze the bottle, and then put the lid on, and that way when it does freeze and expand, it won't blow your bottle up.
Exactly.
But put a bottle of water in there, put a little snack of some sort. I don't really eat granola bars so much, but something that won't freeze, and if it does freeze, it's not going to hurt the quality of it. Chocolate bar, granola bar, jerky, Slim Jim, anything like that. Couple, 3 of them that you can have a snack, keep you going if you need it. I've got a U-Haul, one of those U-Haul padded blankets that I use for my dog when she rides around with me. I got that in here, so that's something good to have. Maybe some sort of a flashlight or a glow stick is even better, because a glow stick you can break and hang on your antenna, although vehicles anymore don't have antennas. But you could, it at least gives you some marking ability to mark where you're at. A couple of those glow sticks, and actually the dollar store here has them 2 for $1. So, and I've tried them out. They're actually not a bad glow stick. You can break them, and they will keep going for 5 or 6 hours. So that's not too bad. You got to shake them, every hour or so, but they'll keep going. And they got different colors. I recommend something like that because, first of all, the old-fashioned way of using a flare, produces a burning hazard or an explosion hazard or a fire hazard, and so you don't really want those. And the glow sticks, it's got that your eyes are drawn to them for some reason, especially the green ones. When you're out and driving in the middle of nowhere and you see a green glowing light, you want to look for the aliens or whatever. So it kind of takes your eyes to it. So maybe throw extra pair of socks in there. If you wear tennis shoes all the time, maybe throw some boots or something in there. Pair of gloves. I usually have my fuzzy hat on with me in the winter, so I don't really need that. But and just a few little items that'll get you by. Just plan on putting stuff in there that get you by for 3 days and make you visible to passersby. And then outside the shovel or outside of the crate, throw a shovel in the back. I'm not a kitty litter kind of guy. Around here, kitty litter is not going to do you too much good, because if you're stuck, you're down a hill somewhere, more than likely. Yeah. So, I mean, to me, it's just something that can break open and, screw up the back of your vehicle. Unless you got to pick up hay, haul whatever hay will work if you have to. Just a few things that you might need. Like I said, some snacks and whatever. And here's another hint, if you go off the road and you're buried in a snowbank, don't keep your vehicle running, especially if your tailpipe is not exposed. You'll gas yourself and you'll wake up dead. So if you are going to do that, you decide you're going to keep your vehicle running because you are stuck, get out and dig yourself a hole to where your exhaust fumes can pour it out, without gathering up underneath your vehicle and seeping into the cab. I recommend just using a blanket, start it up every hour or so to keep your battery charged so that you can listen to the radio. And another thing that I recommend is putting a CB radio into your vehicle. They are so cheap now. They're unbelievably cheap. I mean, you can buy CB radios at the pawn shop for $20, and for another $20, you can have them professionally installed. So for $40, you've got a good CB radio. That's my recommendation. That'll, and there's still, even though the internet's prevalent and cell phones are prevalent, there's still people that run base stations, which is a CB radio in someone's home that you can get a hold of. And, here in Montana, we are 50th in rank on cell phone service. We are the worst cell phone and internet service in the country. There are probably 2/3 of the states not covered by cell phone service. So 100% of the states covered by CB radios. Just a recommendation. And CB's cool. It's a lot more versatile than a cell phone too.
Yeah, and people that run those base stations are more than happy to, give a call to law enforcement or to family members and to let them know that, hey, your friend's out stuck on the roadway, at this location, and, they wanted to know if you'd give them get them some help going out that way, and if it's a yes, then I'll get back with them, and if not, then I'll just go down the list and go to the other phone number that they gave you. Oh, okay. Well, tell them I'll be on the way, and boom.
Yeah.
But, CB radio, I used to drive OTR, and excellent communications. When you get near the big cities, just turn the things off. There's everybody and their brothers on the thing, and if you can find a clear channel that half the users aren't speaking something other than English, you're lucky. And I'm being very polite here, but Yeah, CB radios are really good, and I mean, even the cheap ones are stepping out 20 miles with a decent antenna. I mean, that's a lot better than a couple cans and a string. So
yeah, and you know, another thing, if you got this basket, you only got a few items in there to keep you going, I'd throw in yourself a little kit where you got a screwdriver, pair of pliers, maybe a hammer, a multi-tool of some sort in there that takes up a little bit of space. Put it in a plastic bag and throw it in the back, you know, a plastic Ziploc bag of some sort.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can always, you know, if you're somewhat handy a little bit and you get broken down and it's just something simple like a fuse, with a pair of pliers, if you don't have one of those little fuse pullers in your box, you can pull a fuse out that runs the main computer to your car and swap it out with the one that runs your CD player. You can get by without the CD player, but you kind of need that main computer for your vehicle. So, you know, if it's an emergency fix, you can get by with that till you get to town, or just throw a few extra fuses in your glove box or whatever. Those little ideas like that, or those little tools like that, may save your ass. Check your spare tire. You know, I highly recommend it. If you got one of these cars that has one of these goofy little donut tires that are just kind of a throwaway thing, maybe go down to the junkyard and get you an extra spare, you know, throw it in the back if you got room for it. These cars now, there's just not room to put a full spare in a vehicle. Unfortunately, I got a full spare in mine. It came with a donut, but the holder is actually underneath the rear. Well, it's a platform. I drive a big SUV, so it fits underneath that rear platform, and it will take a full spare. And, you know, into that, I actually got room for that and a chain. I got a big chain in there, too, a logging chain, just in case. So you need it. You know, you don't have to get real elaborate. You don't even have a logging chain. Go down and just get you a piece of rope, good heavy rope at the at the Home Depot or Lowe's or Ace Hardware or your mom and
Hang
pop.
on, Jay, you want to mute me, please?
Sure.
And, you know, throw that in the back. You know, just a few coils of stuff. You don't have, like I said, you don't have to carry a lot of stuff. You don't have, in fact, you can put it into your vehicle to where people won't even know that you got it. You know, I put a little first aid kit in mine because I drive quite a bit, just in case I do have to do CPR. I got a little CPR mask and a little emergency kit, and a fire extinguisher is a good thing to have too. And all that can fit underneath your seat so that people don't even know it's there. I usually have a pistol in the truck, but I live in a place where it's perfectly acceptable. So just to protect myself, you know, just little gadgets and gizmos. I know, you know, back in the day, and I don't know if they still do, Emeril Lagasse, and I don't know if you know who he is. He was a pretty famous cook out of New Orleans. He put out he put out these cappuccinos. They were like a cup of coffee, but you would get it and you'd twist the bottom of it, and it was self-heating. And they would heat themselves up to about 125, 130 degrees, and then you had a hot cup of coffee. Last I seen them, they were on the closeout aisle at the Big Lots, so I haven't seen them since then. So I don't know if he still puts them out. You know, a nice hot cup of coffee like that would be cool. I know Campbell's Soup did the same thing with their soup containers. You could buy a deal where you could twist the bottom of it, and it would heat the soup up in the can. They were a self-heating can. But again, I'm not sure how well they would hold up at 35 or 40 below zero where they would freeze in the vehicle. So, you know, that's something to look at. But you can always get yourself a good source of heat. I mean, for crying out loud, slide it up underneath your coat, and that'll warm stuff up pretty good too.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully you don't plan on spending more than 12 hours on the side of the road. In this day and age, there's no reason to. And, you know, it'll be interesting to see. I've got friends out on the eastern seaboard, outside of New York City. They're one of the islands, Staten Island, Long Island, I don't know. And it'll be interesting to see what her and her husband go through. I don't know how bad it's going to get where they're at, but I know she sent some interesting pictures last time that they had that hurricane through, and it was interesting what those big city people go through when there's something that normally really wouldn't affect folks. You know, 2 feet of snow here in Montana, yeah, it'd be a pain in the butt for a little bit, but really nothing that's life-threatening or life-changing, just an inconvenience for a little bit. So out there it's a little bit different. When you've got more people concentrated into a 20 square mile area than you have in the state of Montana, yeah, it's a life-changing event.
Yeah, I just got the latest. I went to the Weather Channel and got a good look real quick. It looks like the Baltimore and the D.C. area is the major, the area that's going to get majorly hit. They're the ones with the blizzard warnings in that area. Everywhere else is going to get ice and snow and all this other stuff. But the heaviest of it is going to be Baltimore and D.C. area.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of an old joke, an old Bob Hope joke. At least this time, Washington D.C. is on the receiving end of the snow job.
Yeah, there you go. Good old Bob Hope. He had a good way of telling the truth, didn't he? I really like Bob Hope, but yeah. You know, and again, for me, I mean, it's January. You know, our winters have a potential of starting in September, so I've had my vehicles ready to go since September. And we really haven't had much of a winter. We've had some snowstorms. I think we got down to 5 below or 10 below there one day. It's just we're not really having much of a winter out here. And I know to folks elsewhere that sounds like winter, but to give you a point of reference, 2 years ago over Thanksgiving, we hit 41 below zero. That was in November.
Whoa!
And
whoa!
The power
you freeze your giblets off?
Nah. You stay inside. I mean, it's not that bad, Jay. We're used to it here. I mean, in the summertime it gets above 75, we sweat. So, you know, I kept the walk shovel. The problem is the power went out, and it went out for a couple of days. Now, I've got alternative sources of power and I've got alternative sources of heat, but my neighbors didn't. So, I spent a good bit of that morning going around and gathering up my neighbors and bringing them over to the house. Fortunately, I also have gas stove, so I got to cook for everybody, and they hung out there for a couple of days. Most of my neighbors were elderly and one young couple with a baby. So that's something to think about if it does get to an abnormal situation for your area, is to check on those elderly neighbors, especially the elderly. The younger couples with the baby, yeah, it was an inconvenience for them, but they were snuggled up under a blanket, and that's fine. Elderly folks sometimes, I'm not saying are crazy, but there may be a little dementia going on. They may not realize that it's as cold as it really is, and they need a little extra help. And it's what we would all expect when we get older. So take the time and check on them if you do have a bad, let me just call it abnormal, because what's normal here is very abnormal for other places. So, 5 feet or 10 inches of snow here is very normal, but you get that in,
right,
Louisiana, and it's the end of the freaking world. So,
yeah,
right.
Down there I was in Georgia and they got 1.5 inches of snow, and I thought Californians couldn't drive in the rain. These people can't walk and chew bubble gum at the same time. It was just hilarious. I just pulled over and watched the ice rink drivers demolish their cars. It was that comical because people driving way fast for conditions. And number one, they shouldn't have been even driving out there if they can't. They don't know what it's like to drive in snow.
Right.
So,
but, and I'll give you guys a hint too. And I'm actually a certified driving instructor. So when you're on ice and snow,
you say you're certified?
Even rain. I'm certified in more than one way, Jay. More than one way. There's a hint, and when you're in ice and snow and you're driving a normal-sized vehicle, i.e. not an 18-wheeler, you use what's called a 6-second rule. And as you're driving, you'll see a vehicle in front of you, and as that vehicle passes a point, you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you should cross that point. Okay, that is the minimum amount of space you want between yourself and that vehicle in front of you. Now, what's happened in my area is we have people moving in here from California, and on most days, sitting out on the intersection is a six-pack of a beer event just to observe and watch how stupid people are. So I would go up maybe as high as 7 or 8 seconds with these folks, and people are going to say, well, what about if you're going faster or slower? It doesn't matter, because the distance will change. As you're going faster, you'll have more distance between you, and as you're going slower, you'll have less distance between you if you use the 6-second rule. That's something very important. And another thing is, when you're driving, don't watch straight in front of you. You want to be looking out there as far into the distance as you can, because that's where you're going to have to react to the problem. So there's just a couple of little hints from Smith Driving Systems, which I'm a certified instructor for. There's other
don't get
too,
the
but if you
6-second rule confused with the kitchen 5-second rule, right, Rusty?
That's correct. The 5-second rule, and in my house there is no 5-second rule because I got a dog, so it doesn't even get to hit the ground before you can pick it up. I caught that damn dog. I chopped up some spinach and put the ends into the garbage can, and she was munching on spinach ends, and she doesn't like spinach. I don't understand them, but anyhow, if you take those little, take that into consideration. And another thing, if you see somebody off on the side of the road and they're not out walking around, don't assume they're okay. Stop and check on them, and stop safely. If you can't stop safely, don't jeopardize yourself. But if you can stop safely and you can put your flashers on and at least check on them, ask if they need anything, and then when you get to town, you can call the wrecker service or whatever and let them know, hey, there's a car at mile marker, whatever. A lot of people don't even know what mile markers are. Okay,
right.
If you're driving down the road, every so often you'll see a little green marker on the side of the road on a little pole, and it'll have a number on it. That's what's called a mile marker, and that's how you can call in and tell somebody where they are halfway between mile markers 31 and 32 or 30 and 30 on the westbound side of Interstate 15. The cops will know about where this guy is, or the wrecker service will know about where this guy is. Folks just don't use that anymore because they're so used to GPS, they're used to cell phones and all that. That was the old school way of telling the cops where somebody was stranded, using mile markers, or cutoffs or exits. You kind of make a note of where that person is, so that when you do tell the authorities or whoever you need to tell, that you got an idea where they're at. If you got GPS, fine, whatever. Not everybody uses it, but you can use that GPS markings too.
But yeah, no, mile markers are a very convenient way of figuring out where you are and how far you got to go. Especially long stretches of roadway where there's virtually nothing between point A and point B. Mile markers is going to be about the only designator that informs somebody, where you are on that line. And like so many things of our past, it's a lost art, and a lot of people don't use stuff like that today. Just common sense,
Right. But like I said, just keep those little supplies, and if there's something else you feel you need, a lot of folks anymore have diabetes and blood pressure problems and whatever, keep you an extra pill or two of whatever it is you take, or I don't know if insulin needs to be refrigerated and not frozen, but, just make sure you got a little extra stuff there if you need it, blood pressure medicine, insulin, anti-anxiety medication, whatever it is that you have to take to keep your life going. If you go on a little trip like that, take it with you so you got a little extra. It's not like it's going to go to waste if you don't use it, but if you do need it, you got it. And like I said, candy bar or a snack or something to keep you going. Your body will keep itself warm if you keep it fueled up with food. And, I'm a big fan of Snickers bars because they got a lot of calories and a lot of proteins and different kinds of calories. They got sugar, they got some milk in them, they got chocolate, they got peanuts, they got a lot of stuff. Something like that is a good thing to have. They're not healthy, and I don't eat them very often, but I do keep them as emergency food in the vehicle.
Yeah, Well, no, having extra food in your vehicle is a great idea. I mean, today most people don't have more than 3 days worth of food in their cupboards. Heck, I've got 3 days worth of food in my truck. I carry around one of those 18-gallon totes, and then it's got a nice lid, sits securely in the back of the vehicle. I got a tow chain sitting in the bottom of it to keep it stable so it's not sliding around in the back, and you can pile all kinds of stuff in there. And the only thing of my winter equipment that doesn't fit in there is my shovel, and I don't like those fold-up type entrenching tools. I carried one in the service, and they have their use, I presume, but
yeah, but those things are backbreakers, brother.
They are.
And, the handles are so small on those.
Yeah,
it's not uncommon to see people here. Again, I know I'm in a different environment, but it's not uncommon to see people here have a shovel strapped to their front bumper or on their head, or their, I guess they call it, luggage rack. It's not uncommon, and nobody thinks anything of it. You know, it's not a big deal. It's kind of like the guys that have Jeeps that have their jack mounted on the hood. It's no big deal. Nobody really thinks anything of it. And even these yuppie invaders from California that are driving their little Subarus around, you'll see them with a shovel strapped on, and it's not a big deal, and nobody thinks they're less yuppie because they have a shovel on the outside of their vehicle. So, you know, who cares? But to be honest with you, who gives a crap what other people think? I certainly don't, obviously.
Right. Neither do I. Neither should anyone else.
Well, if I worried about the opinions of other people, I'd be worrying all the time.
Right, exactly.
Not worth your time or your effort, so, you know, act accordingly. No, it's with storms coming in and stuff. You just gotta, you know, plan a little bit ahead. Make sure you got plenty of dog food if you have pets. That your neighbors are in pretty good shape, and you know, if power goes out, run over and check on them. You know, make sure that that you know they have candles or they have some sort of light, and if they don't have any way of heating their place, you know, make sure they got space blankets, or invite them over for the afternoon to kick back on your couch. And, you know, it's just, you know, a good Christian thing to do.
Right on, brother. I'm going to post I'm posting a link in the chat room from the Baltimore Sun, where they're already talking about supermarkets, hardware stores, and highway crews are already ramping up, getting ready for what's coming in their direction. They're predicting 1.5 to 2 feet of snow from Friday night through early Sunday morning. Winds gusting as high as 55 miles an hour for the Maryland and that area there. Whew, man, yeah. So if you're not stocked up now, boy, you might not have a chance to get prepared, because stores are already, hardware stores are already running out of salt, snow blowers, and shovels and things like that.
Well, that's so indicative of our society. You know, people should have been prepared for this 6 months ago. I mean, really. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with, even though you're prepared, going down and picking up a few extra things, you know, that you may have forgotten. If you figure you're going to be 6 days in there and you're running a little low on coffee or whatever, pick you a little up. But these people that go down and rape the bread aisle and take all the freaking milk out, don't even get me started, man. It's so stupid.
Well, you know, when it started to get cold this fall, you know, when I put all the lawn stuff away in the summer things, put everything out back in the shed, I automatically dug out the salt, the rock salt, the snow shovel, and brought it to the house. But not only that, last spring towards end of winter, early spring, a lot of the stores had rock salt marked down, sometimes 80% off. So I stocked up on it then, and it's funny, and I'm glad because every time I get prepared like that, it seems like we don't have a very harsh winter. I think I've used the rock salt twice this winter so far. But that's just a mentality. You're always thinking ahead, always thinking ahead. Like you said, Rusty, in this society, folks just don't.
And that's very true. But I mean, look at well, most of the kids that I grew up with, they were latchkey kids, and their babysitter was the television when they got home from school. No parental supervision, and I think that the TV itself, decline of the American thinker. People just don't think when they get in front of that thing. So, but yeah, that was. I mean, our grandparents survived without it. You can too. It's thinking is a thing of the past, it seems, and
right.
But don't worry. The government will be there to help you do it for you. So.
Well, Off-Grid makes a good point in the chat room. Yeah, Off-Grid makes a good point in the chat room. He said, folks now think that everything can be had at a drive-through window, and that's right on point. I mean, we live in pretty much a drive-through society or an on-demand society.
Yeah.
I don't have to stock up on bread or milk or water because I can just go to the grocery store and they'll have it.
Yeah. Well, that's instant gratification. Fast food. Hookers on every corner. It's just that's the way society is today. And
hey, I'm sorry, Joe. I just wanted to ask Rusty. Rusty, you still with us?
I am still here.
Okay, I wanted to ask you since Joe just brought up fast food, real quick. Do you remember the incident where you ordered the burrito through the drive-through live on air when I was doing Freedomizer?
I do.
Oh, okay.
Notice I'm not laughing or amused at it either.
I thought it was great. I thought it was class. I wish I would have saved it.
Well, we could probably arrange to do that again sometime. Except I don't even have food anymore.
It wouldn't be spontaneous. So that was the joy of live radio, especially back then when we were on the air, 8, 9, 10 hours a day.
Right. Well, I guess. But yeah, I remember the idiot put eggs in my dadgum burrito, and I had to go back through and tell him to take the eggs off of it. I thought I had you muted.
Yeah, that's all right. That's okay. Hey, it happens. It happens. Just earlier today, I thought I had my mic turned on, and lo and behold, it was turned off. That kind of stuff happens, with the live broadcast. A lot of the shows that you hear, they're not live, especially if there's no mistakes. I can go through easily and edit out all the silent parts and the irrelevant conversation and stuff, but it kind of takes away from what the show is. Because I like to take a lighthearted look at things. I don't try to get too stressed out over anything, because ultimately I know that God has me where He wants me, and He's given me the ability to prepare for as much as I could possibly do, and anything beyond that is in His hands, and that's kind of the way I approach it. But for you folks not heeding the warnings, I really have pity for you. Like Rusty said, helping out your seniors. Not only that, if you got folks around you that have disabilities, go help them out, shovel their walk for them, sweep off their porch or whatever. Take care of your neighbor like that. That's a lost societal norm, I guess you can call it, Rusty, nowadays, especially if you live in an urban area or a city area. You go up on somebody's porch without them knowing it, you might be in for a shooting or something.
Well, I'm pretty
I wouldn't.
fortunate.
Well, see, in the outskirts or in the sticks, as you call it there, Rusty, society's a bit different. Folks are more trusting. Life's a little bit slower. And people are used to folks being kind and considerate in general. Whereas, where I'm at, where I'm from, if somebody is nice to you for no reason, you're automatically thinking, okay, what's this person up to? What do they want?
Yeah. I got a pretty nice snowblower, and so this little area where I live is all built up on the side of a really steep hill. So I get to go around and hit all my neighbors up with the snowblower, and I love running the snowblower. So, the neighbors appreciate it. I've had them all try to pay me, which I won't take, but I've also had some mysterious gifts show up on my porch. So I'm sure it's the neighbors. I'm not sure which ones to take it back to. So I guess I'll just enjoy the jerky and the other stuff that were dropped off.
That's cool.
That's great, brother.
It's not the end of the world. I need to say that, okay? A snowstorm is not the end of the world, especially in January. Believe it or not, it's normal. It's normal to have a snowstorm this time of year when you live in the northern latitudes. Just saying.
Yeah.
It's not due to global warming?
No.
Yeah.
It's called seasons. There are like 4 of them. There's this one called winter, and following that's a thing called spring. After that, they have this neat one called summer, and then you get to this nice, pretty one called fall, and then boom, you're right back in winter. Hello.
Yeah, spring and summer are my favorites.
Yeah.
Not really. I like fall because I like to hunt.
Yeah. I like seeing the colors change and stuff, but it's coming, so prepare. Do the best you can for yourself, for your family, for your neighbors. It's a community effort, people, and no man's an island. Put your best foot forward, and hopefully somebody won't drive over it. But we're getting down. Boy, Jay, that was a fast show again.
Yeah, sure was. Hey, Rusty, really quick, you sent an update for your website. Just give us a sneak peek as to what the update is.
Right. I kind of wanted to go over butchering or how to process a large game animal, and it doesn't basically any large animal, from a sheep to a cow to a deer to an antelope to an elk to a moose, whatever it is you have in your area, and it's just a general overall overview of what you need to do, how to process it. Because a lot of folks are saying, well, I got sheep, I got lambs, or my neighbor has sheep or lambs or cows or whatever, and when things get bad, I'll be able to go over and buy one and butcher it. I'd be willing to bet that probably 95% of the people that live in a city or a larger, more urban area have never butchered. And it's not quite as simple as hitting the animal in the head with a hammer and taking a knife and cutting off the steaks. It gets a little more difficult than that. So I kind of went through showing how to. I used a deer. There's a picture of a buffalo there. I didn't get a lot of pictures when I butchered the buffalo out because that was a major ordeal, and it was I didn't have there's a lot of blood, so I didn't have a lot of opportunity to take a lot of pictures. With the deer, I did a lot of the field dressing, and I could take pictures as I was going along. So, and got him in and butchered him out, and I did the whole process within 2 days because I don't hang deer. But it shows you how to properly take the entrails out, how to quarter the animal so it's easy to move, how to skin the animal, and then I'll send another one through here in the next couple of days on how to turn a lot of the scrap meat into sausage.
Oh, good.
Just haven't got to it yet.
Very good. Looking forward to it. I like sausage. That's one of my favorite quick meals. Oh boy, Joe, like you said, this went by so fast. Man, it's we're down to the last 4 minutes already.
Okay. Joe Soapbox Stand. Prepare. Winter's coming. It's here. You're going to be in the middle of it very soon. Plan accordingly. Take care of your family, your neighbors, and the old people in your neighborhood. Remember your pets. It gets cold out there, and they may have a fur coat, but that doesn't mean they're going to be able to stay out there for 8 hours straight. Their water freezes and so forth. Have a clue. Bring them in. If you haven't picked up the best-selling prepper book in the world, it's called the Holy Bible. Check it out. And remember to check your email. Get down and get some private time with between you and the Lord. Talk to him. He's your friend. And believe it or not, he does talk back. And with that, I'm going to say thank you very much, Rusty, for calling in. You have a super day out there. And Jay, thanks for bringing me on to the show. And if we can just help one person, that makes my day.
Right on. Thanks, Joe. Great show this week, Rusty. Thanks. Boy, always fun, and the time always flies when we get on the air. Rusty, always open line for you anytime you call in, brother. We value your input, and especially we look forward to your upcoming projects on your website, which should be updated sometime today, if not early tomorrow morning, is what it's looking like. Well, hey, folks, I want to thank you guys for listening to us here on the Blog Talk Radio platform live, which is great if you can make it. Also in the archives, but we're also available on YouTube. Just look for the Truth Radio Network, also on Spreaker and on SoundCloud. So we're getting the voice out there in a lot of different places. Something I was reluctant to do for a very long time, Joe. But got to kind of whore ourselves out a little bit, as I used to call it, to kind of try and get the word out to reach a broader audience. So thanks to you folks who catch us on these other platforms. We appreciate it, your support and everything. Boy, Joe, we'll be back next week, and I hope the snowstorm isn't as bad as they're predicting. They're on the East Coast, but regardless, I'm sure we'll have something to talk about. We always do.
Yeah, well, just plan accordingly and give yourself a little more time out there. Other people out there might be having a real bad day, and you don't know how bad things are for them. So give them a break. Be good to each other, and love you guys. Thanks.
All right, we'll see you folks next week. Hey, just a reminder, the sermon show is this Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central. Live chat fellowship and classic sermons, some as old as 150, 160 years old. Check us out. And our website is www.thetruthradionetwork.com. You can listen to our latest show just by going to the website. We'll see you folks next time. Get prepared, stay prepared, help your friends and neighbors. God bless you. This is the Truth Radio Network. The Truth Radio Network, your home for compelling Christian news talk with an edge.